Today, once again, I have something very special for my favorite movement enthusiasts, because I've always believed the best way to deal with injuries is to completely avoid them, because even just one injury can become very expensive, set you back in your training, and if you live in a country that doesn't have medical care, then chances are you're gonna be put into a lot of debt from a single injury. So what we're gonna do today is go through 3 exercises that can basically bulletproof your entire body so you can reduce the risk of injury when you are in somewhat compromised positions. And we're gonna do all of that while strengthening your body, working on your flexibility so you can advance not only the safety aspect of your fitness, but also every single other one. So if you're ready, let's go and have some fun. Now, the first one is a staple in basically all of my safety training routines. That for good reason. Not only is this an amazing exercise to bulletproof your body, but the Jefferson Curl is also an amazing posterior chain flexibility exercise that can help you stretch out every single muscle in your posterior chain, starting from your Achilles tendon, moving through your calves, your gastroc, your soleus, your biceps, your glutes, your spinal erectors, your traps and your latissimus, your deltoids and your biceps as well. Basically decompressing those joints, helping you release any sort of tension you have surrounding your back and the backside of your leg musculature. And when reversing the movement, you're strengthening every single muscle I just mentioned and then some. But when it comes to the Jefferson Curl, there are 2 major things we're gonna have to differentiate between, with 2 different schools of thought. One is about rounding your back as much as you can, going down vertebrae by vertebrae and lowering down as slowly as you can until you have a complete stretch in your entire posterior chain. That will totally depend on your own range of motion. So if your movement ends here, that is just as amazing as if your movement was ending here. And when reversing it, we're going to go once again vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly and in a controlled fashion, reverse the movement until we are fully upright once more. With the second variation, forcing your back into spinal extension before you lower and only going as low as you can with your back extended, meaning once it starts to round, that is already too far, which means that you're gonna stay here, hold for a second or 2, and then reverse once again with a completely extended back. Now, each one of these has its own benefits, while both of them having a lot of posterior chain flexibility. The one where you round your spine is much more effective at helping you strengthen your spine in this rounded position, especially when reversing the movement, and then in turn is going to help you avoid injuries when you are lifting stuff with a rounded spine, which you should never ever do, but chances are sometimes we fall into this unsafe position, and then it is much better to be able to reverse out of it in a controlled fashion in a safe movement. While the extended one will help you strengthen your spinal erectors so you don't even get into this compromised position. What I would suggest is you do both, because this rounded one will also help you stretch your spinal erectors, which you will not have during the extended lowering. And the extended lowering will help you strengthen your spinal erectors, which you're going to be missing in the rounded version. And very important disclaimer, when you're going to go for the Jefferson Curl, I would highly suggest you start with a low weight. You start on the floor and you try out. Go for the rounded one, lower as far as you can without having any pain, and reverse the movement in a controlled manner. Learn how to go through the full movement, and of course try and learn the one with your extended back as well, and reverse. And over time you can start increasing the weight, increasing the elevation, so you have all the necessary space to lengthen your entire posterior chain when you're going through this movement pattern, so you don't have to live through the irony of getting injured when you are working on reducing injury risk. Now, the second exercise has a very special place in my heart, not only because of the amount of benefits you can reap from this one single movement pattern, but also because it feels absolutely amazing to go through. And that is going to be the dynamic couch stretch with an added bonus of loaded stretching using a kettlebell. We have a complete anterior chain stretch going all the way from our toes, through our tibialis, up our quadriceps, our hip flexors, our lower abdominals, our upper abdominals. And once we start adding that weight, we're going to open up our delts and our pecs, which means our chest and our shoulders, which means that now we're stretching our entire anterior chain, combined with the Jefferson curl, where we're stretching our entire posterior chain. You have basically opened up and stretched your entire body, almost every single fiber, from all the way down here to all the way up here. But that's not even what makes this exercise so amazing. What does is that by using this weight and going through the dynamic movement, the place where we stretch is actually shifting. And that means when we push our hips forward, we are lengthening all the way on the top insertions of our hip flexors, surrounding our quadriceps. And once we start pushing back, we're going to move that stretch from the top insertions to the lower insertions of our quads, surrounding our knee, which are basically the hardest things to work on when it comes to stretching in general. And the hip flexor flexibility is one of the most important things to work on, because hip injuries are one of the most common ones, and being able to open up all of this while working dynamically on strengthening your posterior chain by pushing forward, as well as lengthening your anterior chain to release any sort of tension you have around your hip. And now we're gonna add our chest and our shoulder mobility as well. Push forward, lengthen the top side, push backwards, lengthen the lower side, and enjoy this stretch. You can even hold the front for 30 seconds, open up, feels absolutely amazing, and push back, open up lower, hold for 20 to 30 seconds, and repeat. And just as important, what happens when we push forward is we force our entire spine into extension, which, if you have been paying attention, is the exact opposite of what we were doing with the Jefferson curl, going into complete spinal flexion. So now we have worked on our spinal safety when it comes to extension, our spinal safety when it comes to flexion, our hips and our knees, as well as our ankles and our shoulders, which are in total all the most injury-prone regions in our entire body. And you have taken care of those with 2 exercises, which is absolutely amazing and can help you drastically reduce the amount of time you need to do safety exercise, which, trust me, you do, especially once you start getting older. And I don't mean older like 60, I mean older like 30. And our last exercise for today is one that I do religiously every single day for about 5 minutes. And I mean literally every single day, even on the days where I don't train and where I try to take full rest days. And that exercise is the passive hang or dead hang. All you need to do is grab yourself a pull-up bar and start relaxing into this position as much as you can until your wrists decompress, your elbows decompress, your shoulders decompress, and what's even more important, your entire spine starts decompressing to pulling the vertebrae apart. And the most stretch and the most relief you're going to feel is going to surround your spinal erectors, which usually carry the most tension in our back and which lead to a lot of injuries, a lot of pain, and a lot of heartache you can definitely avoid. So here's how you perfectly dead hang for maximum efficiency. Start with your shoulders and your arms bent, and from here start lowering and relax your muscles, starting at the top, surrounding your shoulders, and move down your back muscle by muscle. And what's very important is that you also loosen up your hips and your legs. Everything should be very loosey-goosey so you can actually stretch all those muscles, ligaments and tendons, and decompress all of those joints. And once you have worked your way up to holding on to that bar for a complete minute, that's very important because we're also working on our grip strength, one of the more important things to work on, especially when you want to advance when it comes to stuff like calisthenics. Then you can start working on 2 more things. Number 1 is releasing one arm, leading to even more decompression surrounding every single joint and even more stretch surrounding every single muscle. But mostly you're going to increase the stretch to a maximum in your latissimus, which is a little bit harder to stretch with both arms. The second thing you can do, being absurdly effective for strengthening your hands and their tendons, which usually get a lot of injuries, and then you have like carpal tunnel and arthritis and all the stuff that happens when you get a little bit older, when you're working a lot with the mouse and your computer and stuff like that. But that is just a bonus though to all the other benefits of the dead hang, and that is start removing digits until you can hold on for a full minute, remove another digit until you can hold on for a full minute, remove another digit until you can hold on for a full minute, and of course, remove another digit until you can hold on for a full minute, which I am still working on with those 2 fingers. You have massively strengthened your tendons and your ligaments in your hands. You have decompressed every single joint in your body. You have stretched all of those tiny muscles, those tiny tendons and ligaments surrounding your vertebrae, surrounding your hips, your knees and your shoulders. And you have stretched out everything all the way down, specifically your spinal erectors. Feels absolutely amazing. Go for a handful of rounds, try to hold on up to a full minute, take a short break and repeat, or just put it throughout the day. Go for your first hang in the morning, your second hang at midday, your last hang in the evening, and try to work your way up to 5 minutes a day. And there you have it, you gorgeous beasts. 3 exercises that are gonna help you bulletproof your entire body. So go out there, practice them, start working on your safety, especially if you're even a day older than 20 years, because later on you're gonna regret that you didn't start out with those much earlier, and if you are older already, then it's time to get to it. With that said, if you like the video and join us. We do stuff like that pretty much every single day, which means that I'll see you tomorrow. So until then, Captain Cairo, peace out.